Nicole Linders, the former wife of Greg Biffle, chose her words carefully when she spoke after the news broke. Her message was short, controlled, and dignified. She did not attempt to relive the past in detail, nor did she speak for attention. Instead, she acknowledged the man she once shared years with, describing him as disciplined, focused, and deeply committed to his goals. There was no bitterness in her tone, no attempt to reopen old chapters. As that tribute circulated, conversations naturally turned toward what would come next. Today, much of the public discussion centers on one question: how will Greg Biffle be laid to rest? Greg Biffle was not just another name in NASCAR history. He was a driver whose career reflected persistence, preparation, and mental toughness. Competing at the highest level of motorsports demands more than talent alone. It requires emotional control, physical endurance, and an ability to perform under relentless pressure. Greg built his career on those qualities, earning respect over time rather than demanding it. From the earliest stages of his professional journey, he approached racing with seriousness. Those who worked with him often described him as methodical and focused. He studied tracks, respected the mechanics of the sport, and understood that success came from consistency rather than shortcuts. He was not known for chasing headlines or stirring controversy. His focus stayed where he believed it belonged, on performance and preparation. As his career developed, Greg became a familiar presence on the NASCAR circuit. He competed in major races, faced intense rivalries, and experienced both victories and disappointments. Like every driver who reaches that level, he encountered setbacks. What distinguished him was how he handled them. He did not allow frustration to define him, nor did he let success change his approach. That steadiness became part of his identity. Fans came to see him as reliable. When Greg Biffle entered a race, people expected a composed performance. His driving style favored control over recklessness, strategy over impulse. Even competitors who battled him fiercely acknowledged his professionalism. In a sport where emotions can easily spill over, Greg was often described as measured and disciplined. Off the track, he remained largely private. While some drivers embraced constant media exposure, Greg kept his personal life at a distance from the public eye. That choice created a clear boundary between his professional achievements and his private world. Because of that separation, moments like Nicole Linders' tribute carried extra weight. They offered insight without intrusion, respect without oversharing. When the news of Greg Biffle's death emerged, the reaction was swift and deeply emotional. Racing fans across the world expressed shock. For many, it was difficult to accept. Greg had been such a consistent figure in the sport that his absence felt sudden and disorienting. Social media filled with messages of disbelief, sadness, and reflection. Teams, organizations, and fellow drivers acknowledged the loss. Tributes appeared that focused less on statistics and more on character. People spoke about his work ethic, his seriousness, and the quiet way he carried himself throughout his career. The tone across the racing community was unified. Respect came first. Notably, details surrounding his passing were limited. There was no rush to explain, no immediate flood of information. Instead, there was a pause. That silence became part of the moment. Rather than fueling speculation, it allowed space for reflection. Fans were left to process the loss without distraction. As days passed, attention naturally shifted. The focus moved from the shock of the news to the question of how Greg Biffle would be honored. Burial arrangements often represent the final public chapter of a person's life. For someone whose career had been followed by millions, that chapter carried emotional significance. People wanted to know whether there would be a public opportunity to pay respects. Others wondered if the farewell would remain private. These questions did not come from curiosity alone. They came from connection. Greg Biffle's career had been part of many people's lives for years. Watching him race, struggle, and succeed created a bond that extended beyond the track. Nicole Linders' message added depth to these discussions. While she did not comment on burial plans, her words reinforced the seriousness of the moment. They reminded the public that, beyond the fans and the headlines, there were real individuals grieving. Her tribute became a reference point, grounding the conversation in respect rather than speculation. Within the racing world, Greg's legacy continued to be examined. Analysts revisited key moments in his career. Fans shared clips of memorable races and interviews. His name remained present in conversations, not because of controversy, but because people were reflecting on what he represented. His career achievements were discussed with renewed appreciation. Winning at that level requires years of dedication and sacrifice. Greg's journey served as a reminder of how demanding professional racing truly is. Every race involved preparation, teamwork, and mental discipline. His longevity in the sport spoke to his commitment. That disciplined approach appeared to extend beyond racing. Those who knew him personally often described consistency in his character. He did not present one version of himself publicly and another privately. Nicole Linders' tribute echoed that sentiment, suggesting that the focus and determination fans saw on the track were present in other areas of his life as well. As conversations continued, people monitored official channels for updates. However, there was no sense of urgency in the tone. Instead, there was patience. Fans seemed willing to wait. Understanding that moments like these require care and privacy, this waiting period became a collective experience. Without immediate announcements, attention remained steady rather than frantic. Each shared memory and tribute added another layer to the story of Greg Biffle's life. The absence of details did not diminish interest. It deepened reflection. Over time, it became clear that whatever form Greg Biffle's final farewell would take would be approached with seriousness. The overall tone surrounding the discussion suggested dignity rather than spectacle. There was no demand for dramatic displays. Respect remained the priority. Fans continued to express their thoughts. Some shared stories of meeting Greg at events. Others spoke about how his racing inspired them to follow the sport more closely. These moments highlighted how his influence reached beyond trophies and standings. He mattered to people on a personal level, even if they never knew him directly. Nicole Linders' tribute remained present in these conversations. Its quiet strength stood as an example of how loss can be acknowledged without excess. Many commented that her words felt appropriate and sincere. In times like these, authenticity carries immense value at this stage. The story of Greg Biffle is no longer about competition. It is about remembrance. It is about how a public figure is honored when the racing ends and the noise fades. It is about legacy, dignity, the quiet moments that follow life-changing news. As interest continues, many remain focused on understanding how and when Greg Biffle will be formally honored. That curiosity persists, but it is tempered with patience and respect. People understand that some moments belong first to family and those closest to him now. It is important to clearly state the current situation as of now. No official details regarding Greg Biffle's burial have been announced. The burial has not yet taken place, and there is no confirmed date or location available to the public. No verified information has been released by family representatives or official sources. When confirmed details become available, they will be shared through appropriate channels. Until then, the focus remains on honoring Greg Biffle's life, his career, and the disciplined, driven person he was remembered to be. In the quiet that follows such a loss, respect often matters more than answers. And for now, that respect continues to define how Greg Biffle is remembered.